So All-Star fan voting just came out, and I think voting tells you a lot about what kind of NBA fan you are. Like, some just want to see the biggest names, some want to give it to the most deserving, the best stats, and some are just evil by rewarding Kyrie and Russ. I actually learned something about myself that I don't really like, and I'll explain what that is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I really want to hear some feedback on this. But even though All-Star voting ends January 22nd, we can pick our teams now. So to refresh, All-Star teams are 12 guys from each conference. There are 4 guards, 6 front court players, and 2 other players at any position. I think the most interesting discussion really is about like the last guys who get in, because some guys don't really require discussion. So first, the obvious guys, okay? No discussion needed. In the East, it's Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. In the West, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic. I don't need to defend any of those guys. Now to the fun part. In the East, my starting guards. DeMar, I casually take one-footed game winners DeRozan, and Trae Young, yes. My starting front court, KD, Giannis, and Embiid. Now, I chose DeMar as a starter because he has been the first place Bulls' best player. Also, I kind of owe him an apology, so I feel like this is it. His back-to-back game winners were awesome, yes, but he's been elite on offense all year. Dude is mid-range money as usual, and he's not even hurting the team on defense. Obviously, I was wrong saying that he was the 5th worst offseason signing, and yes, I am sorry. Trae Young deserves to be a starter too. He is still a turnstile on defense, but I can't deny how dominant he is on offense despite the new free throw rules. He still averages over 28 points a game with 9.5 assists. Are you kidding me? This is also his most efficient season ever. My knocks previously on Trae were his defense and his inefficiency. But look, last year showed you can build a team around him to compete with good defense, but his teammates are letting him down this year. Atlanta has the 2nd best offense and the 5th worst defense. Without Trae, they would be a last place team. My East bench, Zach LaVine, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, Jarrett Allen. And I will tell you who my 2 last wildcard players are in the East in a second. I don't think LaVine requires a lot of explanation. He has been one of the most efficient, explosive guards in the league. Zach has proved, look, all he needed was better teammates to be a real winner. Trae starts over Zach, though, I think, because Trae does so much more for his team than Zach does, but they both make the All-Star team. James Harden has gotten crap for his slow start, but pay attention, people. He is averaging about 23 points, 10 assists, and 8 boards for the 2nd place team, while maybe not even being in shape. Jimmy Butler is another mid-range assassin. He is more efficient than DeMar DeRozan, but has excellent defense. He is averaging 23 points, 5 assists with 2 steals. Bottom line, he is one of the 12 best players in the East. My only issue would be availability. I get that it's a COVID year, so, you know, maybe you could forgive a guy missing a little bit more games this year, but missing 16 games? I honestly think I could be talked out of Jimmy Butler. Now, I don't like voting for Jason Tatum. He is not leading his team on or off the court. He doesn't pass the ball enough, but his numbers are great. 26 points, 9 boards. And in the East front court, is Jeremy Grant better than Jason Tatum this year? No. Pascal Siakam? No. Domantas Sabonis? Almost, but no. Basically, if your team is like shopping you on the open market right now, you're not an all-star. Evan Mobley? No, can't do it. My last front court bench player was Jarrett Allen. I have to include a Cavalier. He has been their best overall player, both an elite rim protector and an excellent finisher who's been super consistent. I know a lot of people are going to vote in Darius Garland. By the way, I don't have a problem with that. I made a whole video about how awesome he is that I'll link at the end of this video. But without Jarrett Allen to finish those lobs that Darius Garland throws up, Darius Garland's lob wouldn't be there, or his floater, because half of the time that Darius Garland connects on his floater, the defense thinks it's a lob, right? Jarrett Allen is key to all that. And bottom line, I did have to pick one Cavalier because of how great they've been, and Jarrett Allen is their best player. My 2 East wildcards, Fred VanVleet and Drew Holiday. Yes, they are better all-around players than Darius Garland at the same position. Fred VanVleet, 21.7 assists, over 40% from three with elite defense. Look, I wish his team was better, but thanks to the crappy Celtics and Knicks, the Raptors are looking good. I know Drew Holiday will be a controversial pick, but he is an efficient offensive player with decent numbers, but great defense. And so much of the Bucks offense goes to Giannis, so I'm not going to punish Drew for not having like bigger counting stats. Milwaukee is 20-6 since their slow start. They deserve 2 All-Stars, and Chris Middleton just hasn't been the same this year, so it's going to Drew. So my East snubs: Bradley Beal, Darius Garland, LaMelo Ball, Jaylen Brown, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Bridges, and of course Lance Stevenson. But honestly, LaMelo's team just isn't good enough, and Beal hasn't had the same impact we're used to. And by the way, some of these guys are going to be All-Stars anyway, based on injuries and COVID. I'm just not voting them in. I've got a little secret. Legion Athletics wanted to sponsor AM Hoops to show you guys their supplements, so they sent me some stuff, but I already have some. This thing's like halfway done. It's the exact same as that, but they sent me that. So you probably heard a million shady supplement companies say stuff like, take our pill and it's the one shortcut to getting jacked. Legion though is different because they straight up tell you, you don't need supplements to get healthy and to build muscle and to lose fat, but the right ones will help. And I am obsessed with their protein powder, but also their pre-workout, which is called Pulse. A lot of pre-workouts I've tried have the right ingredients, but not the right amount of ingredients. And then they hide behind like proprietary blends so they don't have to tell you what's actually in it. Legion doesn't have any secrets about what they use. Every formula is 100% transparent. They even hire scientists so that they find the right stuff and the right amount of stuff in their supplements so they're effective. If you want to start working out, or you already do, and you want to switch like I did a long time before they were a sponsor, by the way, go to legionathletics.com. AM Hoops is the promo code. It gets you 20% off your first order. Let's go to the West starters. My guards, Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell. My front court is LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Rudy Gobert. And I know some of you hate me for voting in Gobert, but hear me out. The Jazz are an elite team who deserve 2 All-Stars. Spida has really good numbers again, and he is who the Jazz turn to when they absolutely need a bucket. Gobert is one of the greatest defenders of all time. If you watch their games, they don't even look like other games. People will not go into the paint against Gobert. He literally changes how all teams play the Jazz versus every other team. Look, it's hard to defend a guy that most fans and other players hate, but if you watch the Jazz, you have to respect his dominance. And he's good enough on offense, but let's end the myth that Utah can't play with Gobert in the postseason. The Clippers beat them last year because Gobert's teammates can't defend the perimeter, not because of Gobert. My West bench guards, Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Front court, Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond Green, and Paul George. And I don't care that Chris Paul doesn't have huge numbers. We all know his impact by now, and the Suns are in second place. I know some people are gonna rip this Draymond pick, but he is an elite playmaker and maybe defensive player of the year, and he's one of the most important players on the first place team. Now, I'm just gonna tell you my wild cards because it's really about the snubs in the West this year. My 2 wild cards are Ja Morant and Luka Doncic. So my snubs are Anthony Davis. I still can't believe I didn't pick him. Damian Lillard, DeJounte Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Andrew Wiggins. And yeah, the big one here is AD. And I chose Paul George and Kat in the front court over him, and Ja and Luka as wildcards over AD. Because they've just all been better. Like Kat, for example, is, bad defensively, but he's one of the best offensive players in the game. He scores 25 points on elite efficiency. AD is one of the least efficient players in the league this year. The Lakers are 2.2 points per 100 worse with AD on the court. And he plays with LeBron James. So, who has been the better player this year? Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis? It's Kat, and I think you all agree with me. So the real struggle is picking Paul George over AD, I think. And I picked PG because he's got great numbers, 25.6 assists, elite defense, and he just makes his team better. AD didn't show up this year. And for that reason, I have to leave him off my All-Star ballot. I don't think I need to defend Ja at this point, but Luka barely made my list. His numbers are great, but his defense sucks as usual. But the reason I picked him over AD is Luka just means so much more to his team overall, and they've kind of gotten on a winning streak lately. But, and I talked about at the beginning, what I hate about how I pick All-Star teams is really I have a double standard. Like, I didn't even look at LeBron's case at all. I just know he's been really good, and he's LeBron. I didn't take that same approach with guys like Dame or Bradley Beal, and honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it's a bias on my part. What do you guys think? Is that a bad way to pick teams? Let me know down below in the comments. But most importantly, check out this deep dive on Darius Garland and why he's been so good this season.